Miss Shen, is this how you beg someone for a favor? My little gold whip slipped from my hand and dropped to the floor. The way he was looking at me like it was ice cold, like a frozen ink pool, slowly swallowing and freezing every part of me from the inside out. And right then it hit me again. He was no longer the doggo who let me do whatever I wanted. He was someone who could, with one pinky, wipe out my entire family. Please me, if you actually satisfy me, maybe I'll be generous enough to spare Shen Nanshan's life. Please him. My heart sank in a way I couldn't even describe. I couldn't help but look down, gently touching my still flat stomach. The day he left for the capital, he blip. The baby held on. But the doctor said my pregnancy was unstable, and there was still a risk of miscarriage. The first 3 months I had to be extra careful. No emotional stress, no intense physical activity, and absolutely no intimacy. I was terrified of bleeding again, even more terrified of losing this baby. Even if Chen Golden Boy didn't want him, I did. But he was demanding I please him. And this was my only shot at saving my dad. That reluctant, huh? Chen Mo scoffed. I don't do things by force. If you're that unwilling, then just wait a month and collect your father's body. My eyes burned with tears I was holding back. I wanted to cry. I also wanted to tell him I was pregnant, that my body hadn't been in great shape lately, that I couldn't do that kind of thing. But I didn't dare. Tell him there was a baby growing inside me. My childhood best friend, Chun Young, had saved a down-and-out scholar a year ago. They fell for each other. Before he left for the imperial exams, she got pregnant. He got snatched up after passing the exams, and became a high official son-in-law. When he found out about the baby, he was afraid it would get in the way of his career, so he forced her to take an abortion herb. That was just a low-ranking official. The moment he got a shiny new rich girl, he threw away the woman who'd been through hell with him, and the baby she was carrying. Chen Mo is the crown prince, second only to the emperor. There's no way he'd want my little doggo, especially when I wasn't some loyal wife who stood by him through hardship. I was the pretty little freak who tormented him for 2 years straight. You can't fight power. Even a nobody official can play God with people's lives. For someone as high up as the crown prince, snuffing out me and my baby would be easier than squashing 2 ants. His Highness, the untouchable crown prince, was clearly out of patience. He let out a cold laugh and carelessly dropped my robe on the ground, turning to leave. Wait, Your Highness? I bit down hard on my lip and wrapped my arms tight around him from behind. I'd been spoiled my whole life, proud, stubborn as hell. I hated bowing to anyone. I didn't want to bleed, but I wanted my dad to live more. I tilted my face up toward the ceiling, fighting to keep the tears from falling, and said with a shaky voice, I'll please you. Chen Mo let out another one of those cold, disdainful laughs. His back was to me, so I couldn't see his face, but I could picture it. Cold and ruthless as ever. I was scared he'd just walk out again. So even though I had no idea what I was doing, I clumsily reached out and touched him. I thought for a second, then stepped around to face him, and kissed him lightly with all my sadness. That's all you've got, Miss Shen? How much more did he want from me? I was mortified and furious. I wanted to reach for my little gold whip. But I knew, if I dared pick up that whip right now, I'd basically be holding a knife to my own father's throat. I just couldn't. Not for the life of me. Think of anything else to do. I looked up and met his eyes, watching that deep, churning darkness in his gaze. I couldn't help but think back again, to the night we spent together. That night there were waves crashing behind his eyes too, a depth I couldn't read. But that night, he didn't stand above me and command me to please him. He kissed me carefully, like he meant it. When he hurt me, he coaxed me over and over, telling me not to cry. Now he was practically begging me to cry. The way he treated me that night, versus the way he's treating me now, that the contrast was brutal. My nose stung like crazy. But that memory from that night gave me an idea. I copied the way he'd kissed me back then, slow and gentle, hoping his eyes would soften just a little, hoping he'd reach out and save my dad. Shen, you two, back off. I had no idea what was happening to him, but his breathing suddenly went sharp and ragged. The second he told me to back off, I got scared that if I didn't get out of his way, he'd slam me down hard again. So I instinctively stepped back. Barely one step. And he grabbed me by the waist, pinning me hard against the edge of the bed. He flipped the script, kissing me like he was trying to bite through my lip. Okay, I really wanted to ask if he was part dog or something, but I didn't dare say it out loud. His kiss kept getting more intense, until I could barely breathe, let alone string a sentence together, fabric tearing. I felt like a leaf floating in the middle of the ocean, just getting tossed around by these massive waves. Kind of embarrassing, but I ended up passing out at some point. With so much on my mind, my sleep wasn't deep. It wasn't even fully light out yet, when I groggily opened my eyes. Chen Mo must have had morning court. He was already fully dressed, impeccably put together, sharp and untouchable. Nothing like the guy I remembered. That doggo who always wore rough linen. My eyes started burning again. I sniffled, and said in a hoarse voice, Your Highness, last night The rest was too hard to say, so I just switched to, you'll save my dad, right? When exactly did I say that if you slept with me, I would definitely save Shen Nanshan? What? My eyes went wide. I could not believe that after everything last night, I was destroyed. Felt like every bone in my body had been ground to dust. He actually had the nerve to say that. I hadn't even pulled myself out of the devastation yet, when I heard him laugh coldly. Besides, a body like yours, you really think that counts as pleasing me? I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but hearing that, I got it. He never planned on saving my dad. He was humiliating me on purpose. Just like I humiliated him for 2 years. I was wrecked. It felt like a storm was building behind my eyes. But I hate crying. So I forced myself to hold it together. I shoved down the urge to grab my gold whip. And with everything I had, I bowed my head. Your Highness, I'm really begging you. I don't want my dad to die. Please save him. He didn't even spare me a glance. He walked out cold as frost, never looking back.